Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Analysis. Up for analysis today is Toymaster. This spoiled brat knows every dirty trick in the book to get his own way. He loves to bug other monster teens and use their own toys to torment them. So here we have this ugly little monster as a child, as a teen, as an adult. And this is probably going to be one of the few times I say I do not like this monster's design whatsoever, but fortunately for us, it's not about how a monster looks in Monster Legends, it's about his stats and his skills. So let's get straight into that. His power is 3,278, and in terms of just magic monsters, it's really not that all impressive. It's actually falls somewhere along the middle. As of the time recording this analysis, there are 21 magic monsters, and his power lands him in number 11 of those 21 monsters. So he has a rather mediocre power. And quite similarly, his life of 27,143. In terms of magic monsters, this ranks him in number 12 of the 21 magic monsters. Again, as of the time I'm recording this analysis. So far we've seen he has a mediocre power and a mediocre life. However, Toymaster makes up for this in his speed. His speed of 3,465, that is actually one of the better speeds for magic monsters. You can say he's tied for third place in terms of stat alone. So a quick summary, Pandacloss and Cupid, they both have 3,542, and those two monsters are the fastest magic monsters. Next up we have Galante with an impressive speed of 3,476, and after Galante we have Scar, Toymaster, and Uru, all with the same speed. And as mentioned previously, he is magic, therefore his weakness is nature, and his trait is energized. This monster starts off the game with 20% extra energy. So this trait is definitely not one of the better traits in the game, and considering Toymaster is a magic monster, and just about all the good magic monsters have a possession skill, you would really want a magic monster that had immune to possession, but if you recall, I mentioned that this monster has one of the fastest speeds, and in fact the only monster he has to worry about that can possess him is Galante. And besides Galante, Scar and Uru have the exact same speed as him, so even though his trait isn't that impressive, it doesn't really matter that he doesn't have immune to possession. But anyways, moving straight into his default and special skills, we have Toy Gun. Deals low physical damage, 25 damage, 13 stamina, no cooldown. We also have Water Balloon, deals low magic damage, 30 damage, 13 stamina, no cooldown. Okay, moving on to Pro Master Driver. Deals heavy magic damage to all enemies, removes all positive status effects, and applies Stamina Leak. It's an AoE, 65 damage, so like most specials, it deals a nice amount of damage. However, this monster doesn't have one of the highest powers. It does give Stamina Leak, which is nice, and it also removes positive effects in case the enemies had double life or 2 times damage or some sort of buff, so it's a pretty good special in terms of the effects it deals, and of course the 65 damage is nice. But moving on to skills group 1, we have Toy Shots, deals moderate magic damage, 50% chance to magnetize the target, 35 damage, 21 stamina, no cooldown. I gotta say it's a little odd to see that he has a magnetizing skill, but what can I say, he has it, 50% chance to magnetize, it's not that great. Prank Balloons, deals moderate magic damage, 50% chance of dazing, 35 damage, 24 stamina, no cooldown. And yeah, 50% chance to daze. Again, I'm not a fan of 50% chance, no reason to run this skill. Lastly, we have a skill called Bewildered. 35 damage, 27 stamina, no cooldown, deals moderate magic damage, 50% chance of stunning target. Again, you won't need to run this skill. So now we move on to skills group 2 and 3, and before I actually analyze these skills, I have to say, it's Toymaster skills that actually makes him one of the better magic monsters in the game, and quite possibly one of the best magic monsters to use depending on the runes you have, and depending on the requirements for war. So I'm going to jump into it, and I'm also going to say that there's no definite skills you have to run for this monster. He has a wide variety of good skills. If you choose 4 of the 6 skills I'm about to analyze, you're going to be set. There's 2 I'm going to recommend that you should run, but you can decide that for yourselves at the end of the analysis. So starting things off with War Machine Toy, deals moderate magic damage, may stun target, applies a random negative effect to the enemy. So these are all the random negative effects, and this is actually one of the skills I recommend you should run. The fact that it stuns is crazy good because all magic monsters, there's only 2 that are immune to stun, and that's Goldfield and Pixelion, and you really won't see them that often in war. Maybe you might see Pixelion, Goldfield you won't see him that much. The fact that this monster has a single stun skill, combined with the fact that he has one of the best speeds for magic monsters, this is why this monster is really good. Now speaking just about Team Wars, if you get a requirement where it's like common, nature, and magic, and it's up to your magic monster to be the main deny monster, if you run all speed on this monster and your opponent runs all speed on his monster, and you both have the same level runes, Toymaster is going to be faster than your opponent's magic monster, and you're of course going to be able to immobilize them with a stun. So you're essentially immobilizing the enemy's immobilizer, which prevents him from immobilizing you, which gives you a huge advantage. So that's why you want to run War Machine Toy. But moving on to Nightmare Balloons, this is just an AoE nightmare skills. Deals low magic damage to all enemies, may give nightmares, 30 damage, 34 stamina, 4 turn cooldown. Now in my opinion, this skill is optional if you want to run it. I'm personally not a fan of AoE nightmares, but if you like AoE nightmares, this is definitely a skill you can run. But moving on to a skill called Bollocks, deals moderate magic damage, may freeze target, applies a random negative effect to enemy. So once again, here we have all these negative random effects. And just like War Machine Toy, it's 40 damage. This one's actually a bit more stamina, 33 stamina, and it's also 2 turn cooldown. So the cool thing about this skill is that it freezes, and no magic monster is immune to freeze. So going back to what I said about Team Wars, if the requirements make it so that the best monster to be a deny monster is the magic monster, if you run both of these skills, Bollocks and War Machine Toy, you can essentially start off by freezing the enemy deny monster, the enemy's magic monster, and then you can stun the enemy's monster, or vice versa. You're basically gonna immobilize the enemy's immobilizer for 2 turns, if it comes down to it. Of course, maybe if you immobilize it for 1 turn, then your attacker can take him out. Like, there's so many possibilities, but the fact is that this monster has 2 immobilizing skills to choose from, and I'm repeating myself, but he's one of the fastest magic monsters. He doesn't need to worry about being possessed because he's gonna move before the enemy's magic monsters. This is assuming you have the same runes, so out of all of Toymaster skills, I recommend War Machine Toy and Bollocks. Moving on to skills group 3, we have Poison Toy Pistol. 40 damage, 28 stamina, 2 turn cooldown. Another great skill because it poisons and gives an extra random negative effect. That random negative effect could come in so much handy. It could stun, it can freeze, it can drain stamina. There's just so many different possibilities. It's definitely a good skill, one you may or may not want to run depending on your preference really. I really love that his skills that give a random negative effect plus a concrete effect are only 2 cooldowns, because this really allows you to cycle off. Moving on to Joke Balloons. Joke Balloons deals low magic damage to the entire enemy team, may apply damage reduction and daze to all targets. 30 damage, 35 stamina, 4 turn cooldown. You might think it's a pretty high cooldown, but the effect of this skill is really good. Damage reduction and daze combined together will really weaken the enemy's monsters. So of course daze reduces their accuracy by 25%, but even in the event that that monster does hit you, because they have daze which removes 25% of power, and because they have damage reduction which reduces the damage by 25%, that is really going to hurt the enemy's firepower. So I recommend this skill. This isn't a must skill, it's really again for preference, but I personally do recommend this skill. And lastly we have Mind Blown. Deals moderate magic damage, may make target bleed, applies a random negative effect to enemy. So this skill is good for a number of reasons. The first reason is, like the other skills, it gives a random negative effect. It's 40 damage, 29 stamina, 2 turn cooldown. 2 turn cooldown of course means you can cycle, but the fact that it gives bleed, no monster is immune to bleed. So this is technically better than Poison Toy Pistol, because there's plenty of monsters that have immunity to poison. So if I had to pick between these two, I would pick Mind Blown. So my recommendations for this monster are Mind Blown, Joke Balloons, Bollocks, and War Machine Toy. In my opinion, those are his better skills, but like I said, a lot of Monster Legends is preference, so if you want to run Poison Toy Pistol instead of Joke Balloons, if you want to run Nightmare Balloons instead of Joke Balloons, that's completely up to you. But again, really quickly, War Machine Toy, Bollocks, Joke Balloons, Mind Blown, that's my recommendation, and this monster is super good. Run him with 3 speed runes, and run him as a main deny monster. He'll specifically come in handy in Team Wars. Now if you don't need him for Team Wars, if you want to use him for PvP, he's more of a secondary attacker if anything, more of a secondary support monster I guess I should say, because he's really there just to deal effects and immobilize an enemy monster that needs to be immobilized. So in that case you could give him some team runes, most preferably some team speed, maybe a single life to keep him alive, maybe a single strength just to have him deal some extra damage. But really I think this monster shines with all speed runes and he's going to be really good in Team Wars. So that's actually going to conclude my analysis on Toymaster. Again, I want to say he's definitely one of the better magic monsters, and he can easily rival any other magic monster, with the exception of Galante, who has a faster base speed and could easily immobilize every other magic monster. But yeah, Toymaster, he's definitely up there. I hope everyone enjoyed this monster analysis. Thanks to everyone who made it to the end of the video. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, make sure to share it with your friends, and like always guys, remember to dream big and pursue your passions.